In this demonstration, I'm going to show how you can use the bezierCurveTo function to render some Bezier curves. And this is very similar to the quadratic curve function you'll see, although it provides an extra set of control points that you can define as far as x and y coordinates go. So just like with the others, the arc2 and the quadratic curve 2, we're going to begin a path and we're going to move to a start point. I'm going to go to the same one we did with the quadratic curve 2 demo. And as a review, here's what I'm after from the demonstration earlier, the discussion I should say. So we have a move to. We're going to define a control point here, another control point here, and this is where it differs from the quadratic curve because that one only has one control point. And then we'll define our endpoint, as you can see here. So let's come on in and do that. And we'll simply come in and say, let's do a Bezier curve 2. And we'll go 50, 400. That's our first control point. Then we're going to move over to 400, 400. That's our second control point. And then finally we'll move back up to 450. And if we go ahead and stroke this, we should see a nice kind of even line here. And there we go. Now if we wanted to fill this in, we could come in and do a line to this position here, the xy coordinate, over to the initial 50-50 position, and that would then fill that in. So we'll do a line to 50-50, and we'll go ahead and stroke that. And there we go. And then of course if we wanted to fill it, we could easily do that by saying fill. Now we didn't define a fill style, so of course it's going to default to black. And there we go. So that's an example of how we could fairly easily, once you know those coordinates anyway, define some different types of curves that would be really difficult to do with just basic line to and move to. So as we move these control points, things will change a bit. So let's go ahead and mess with this first control point here, and let's say we wanted to move it over to 100. And run it now, and you're going to see it's going to move the curve over. You can see how it kind of slightly changes it instead of being equal. Jumps it on over, and of course if we move over a little more severe to say 300, close to the second control point here, then we'll get another gradual curve going over that way. So it provides a little bit more flexibility versus the arc2 or the quadratic curve 2 if you need that extra control point. Now if you just need rounded corners, then you could definitely go with the arc2 or the quadratic curve 2 because they're pretty much similar as far as what you define in the parameter set. Whereas this one defines the two control parameters and the final ending point parameter. So that's an example of how we can use the bezierCurveTo function.